This is the sage sorority between the pages. This is basically my musings, my thoughts, a journal entry, and a little bit into the scope of my brain. Enjoy. Good morning and welcome back to the Sage Sorority. I'm your host, Shantel. How are we all doing today? Happy new month. Today is July 3rd. I'm sure all my US listeners are prepping for a beautiful July 4th weekend, and my Canadian listeners have just gotten off their Canada Day high, which is July 1st, and my UK listeners have no idea what's going on because we don't have any bank holidays in July. So that's where we're at. Welcome back to the pod, guys. Happy Thursday. Today's a different one, and I've been in a little bit of a slump. I had no idea what to record, and I just basically said to myself that I'm overthinking it. And to be honest, I almost didn't even want to record this pod, but the past few days have been quite a lot for me, energetically, emotionally, and I think I've just been carrying more than I realize and have even admitted. But here we are. It is a new month, a new quarter. It was also my half birthday, which I know is not a thing, but because I'm a December baby and my birthday is December 31st, I have like serious birthday wounds. So I like to acknowledge my half birthday. And honestly, it came and went. I didn't even realize until yesterday. It was also Canada Day. So yeah, just there's a lot of reflection happening. I really like to reflect mid-year. I'm sure I'm not alone on that. It is a halfway point in the year, so I'm sure people like to reflect, and maybe if your birthday is around this time, you feel it as well. So I thought I'd keep things very soft but honest today. I'll share with you guys a little bit about Greece, some reminders that I'm carrying into July and the rest of the year, things that I'm loving, and just some general thoughts on life lately. So if you're down, let's go. So if you follow me on Instagram at the Sage Sorority or on my personal page at Shantel Russo, then you guys know that I was in Greece. So I did 2 days in Athens and 3 days, I think, in Mykonos. Sorry, it's a little bit blurred. And neither of those were my first experiences. I actually did a solo trip to Athens back in January of 2023, which I absolutely loved. I know that we often associate these places with the summer, but I loved Athens in January. It's very sunny, which in London is a bit of a gamble. In London in the winter, it's generally not sunny unless it's very cold. Athens was sunny, and although they were in a cold snap, what is considered very cold for them, I found it to be very comfortable. It was quiet, it was beautiful. I absolutely loved it. And I also have been to Mykonos before. I went to Mykonos in June of 2023 and then again in July of 2023. Very different experiences. Those were like very party vacations, and I still loved it. So I went again. Both of these trips felt different this time around. Not a bad different, just evolved. Athens was buzzing. I mean, obviously I'm going in June this time and not January. Absolutely buzzing. Mykonos was obviously a little bit louder, but I also felt a lot more at ease navigating Mykonos because I'd been there before, and they have Uber now, which thank God. If you have been to Mykonos, like the taxis are a thing and they're very expensive. So unfortunately, if you're listening, they're still expensive, but at least now you can request one on Uber. So small wins, guys, small wins. And obviously the beauty of just returning somewhere that you've been before, but still with fresh eyes, because there's still always so much to do and so much to experience. There's really only so much you can have and do when you're on vacation for 3, 4, or 5 days, right? And then if you're self-aware and you're a little bit more introspective like I am, you're probably reflecting on the last time that you were there and how that place might have changed, and so have you, etc., etc. So one thing I definitely noticed about Athens and Mykonos combined was that the American presence is so real. I even commented on it on LinkedIn, which is so random because there was an article about US tourism to Europe is booming. And honestly, I didn't even need to see that article because I felt it myself. So insane. And this is still like pretty early. Like typically the Euro summer for Americans start in July and August. Some people do come in June. I feel like that's starting to be a thing now, but typically it's July and August. And there were so many North Americans. It's insane. And I know that this is real because I'm also being asked to tip in places. That was never a thing. Like tipping in Greece, I've never experienced it. In London, like it's a little bit more, but if it's there, it's included. It's not added after like your bill, like, oh, do you want to add a tip? Like that is absolutely a North American thing. And I noticed a few places in both Athens and Mykonos that were asking me for tip. And I'm so sorry. That's a North American thing. So that's how I know. And stop doing doing that because we don't want to tip. Like, tipping culture is not a thing. Stop doing that. Please and thank you. Respectfully, like, just stop. But with that said, I actually love how Americans show up in Europe. Like, to me, I think those are like the creme de la creme of Americans. They're often like very chatty, very sociable. They're a little bit in awe of how different things are, but then a little bit like also like very respective of the culture, at least for the most part. I find it even more so in the EU than necessarily in London. Once I tell people that I'm Canadian, I always get reminded about Trump's like 51st state comment. It's so funny because like before people would just say, "Oh, you're Canadian," like that's it. And then maybe they would say, "Oh, I've been to Toronto or I've been to Vancouver." But now like that's like their go-to line. And obviously it fucking drives me crazy because I'm always like, that'll never happen. And I don't even have like a half smile on my face because I'm so dead ass about that. Like, I don't ever want to talk about this because I don't even want to give life to that ridiculous comment. Anyways, but other than that, they're a little chaotic, they're a little fun, the party spirit's always there, and just overall good vibes. I had a few solo moments, just wandering, no plan, just kind of like soaking up the scene, which I'm very like that when I'm on vacation. I am so fine to do like minimal things. I'm not someone that's like huge itinerary, planning out my days, waking up early, like absolutely not. Like I really just want to enjoy and vibe, and I am so good with just eating, drinking, and people watching. Like that just being there is half of the vacation for me, truly. It just reminded me that no matter how much I evolve, that part of me will always stay. Like it doesn't matter where I'm going or who I'm with. And I will always find a little bit of freedom in just getting lost somewhere that's beautiful, that will never age, that will never get tiring to me. And I'm very grateful. A quick heads up that I'm opening up a few one-to-one coaching spots this summer. If you've been in your head about work, relationships, or what's next, and you just want to talk it out with someone who will actually listen and won't bombard you with a bunch of buzzwords, this might be for you. Honestly, summer is the perfect time to reset. Things slow down, inboxes get a lot more quiet, and that space can either spiral into overthinking or be the moment where you finally shift something in your life. You can book a one-off session with me or a monthly series. All the details are in the show notes. I look forward to talking. Bye. Okay, so a little palette cleanser. I'm going to talk to you guys about some current obsessions, these little soft beauty obsessions in the summer beauty rotation, because the glow was glowing this trip. Like, I really wanted to make sure my glow is on point, and I'm very satisfied with the outcome. So I'm going to share with you guys a few things that I've been liking. So one, the Refi Cream Bronzer in Tan. I don't know what it is about this coloring, but I've had a million bronzers. Like, I used to use bronzers before I even used foundation. Like, bronzer has been my go-to. My very first bronzer was from Quo, which is, okay, Canadians will know, but no one else will know. So in Canada, we have something called Shoppers Drug Mart, which is the UK equivalent of the Boots. If you're in the US, it's like a Walgreens. But the beauty section is usually very curated and thought out. Anyways, so their in-house brand is called Quo, Quo, and they used to make this bronzer that was like really bronze, and I used to just like slather that all over my face. I know, don't judge me. But anyways, I love this Refi cream bronzer. I've had it for months, and when I was a little bit more fair, it just added like the perfect amount of warmth. But now that I'm super tanned, it just gives like the perfect sun-kissed flush. It is absolutely gorgeous. I can't even see my own tan anymore because I saw one of my friends in May, like end of May, and she was like, "You are so tanned." And I was like, "Still?" Like from Dubai, like still. So I'm still tanned. And then obviously I was in Greece, even more tanned. So yeah, the tan is just not going away at this point. But anyways, Refi Cream Bronzer and Tan. They don't have a lot of shades, but if you find one that you love, hold on to it because she's perfect. Okay, so I don't know if I've mentioned on the podcast already, but in my other content, I know that I've mentioned the e.l.f. Halo Glow Skin, the filter. It's supposed to be like a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury filter. I don't know what the Tilbury filter is like because I've never used it, but the e.l.f. Halo Glow is A1 in my book. I will always have it. I've already bought my backup. It's fantastic. So they recently released a skin tint, and I'm just going to grab it because it's on my desk. I literally bought this like maybe 2 or a week before I left, and I actually had to get another one because the shade range is like weird, and I'll explain why, but I had to get another one. And then I honestly think I could probably go darker than this one too. Anyways, it's a mineral sunscreen SPF 50. So that's why the color range is weird, because like mineral sunscreens are very difficult. I'm not a skincare content creator, but it's just hard to master. It's hard to formulate. If you are deeper skin toned, you should definitely look for a mineral sunscreen whenever you can, because it really does help to prevent pigmentation. Anyways, that's not what this is about. Point is I bought this and I think this is a great addition to already wearing sunscreen and then also adding like a nice glow with color. Really, really love it. I have shade 11 in tan warm. I could probably go up a shade because, like I said, I'm quite tan at the moment, and this would probably suit me with a little bit less pigment. But anyways, it's the summer sister to the OG Glow. It's SPF 50, water resistant. Once you get it right, it's truly elite, and I highly, highly, highly recommend. Next is the Sol de Janeiro Glow Oil in Goldie Rocks. This one is not new. I've actually had this for like 2 years. I feel like most people, like most black girls, gravitate towards the Copacabana one, which is like the heavily bronzy one. But I actually got this one in a gift bag at an event, and I'm so glad that I do because I feel like the reflection is so much stronger with this one. Obviously, you can't see it, but I'll link it down below. But I just feel like you mix that with like your hotel body lotion or whatever you have, and it is so good. I danced in it all night. I had it on at the beach. It does not transfer. It gave me the best glow at Scorpio's. I had this tan like faux suede dress because for those of you that have never been to Mykonos, Mykonos is very windy. Slightly less in July and August, maybe because there's more people and it's hotter, but in June it is wildly windy, okay? I'm talking like 40 miles an hour windy. It's very windy. So I wanted something sexy and chic, but nothing that had like a skater bottom because I didn't want to be worried about like my butt showing when the wind blows. And I put this all over my chest and my arms, and the glow was so fucking on point. Absolutely love. Highly recommend. And then finally, there's a tiny little Sephora called Sephora Plage and for those of you that don't know, plage means beach in French, in Mykonos, which I feel like I might have forgotten, but of course I had to pop in because I'm never going to pass a Sephora and not go in. And Sephora Collection has a line of plumping lip glosses, and I already have one that I love, but then I saw the color number 7. It is like the perfect pouty pink. It is like a universal pink. So cute. Say less. You need to buy it. So yeah, happy summer glow, guys. Okay, so this is kind of what I'm sitting with after coming back. I feel like I'm someone who feels the return of a vacation a lot. And sometimes I'm a bit sad, sometimes I'm a bit indifferent, and sometimes I'm really happy and relieved. But I just feel like I've lived so many different versions of myself since January. Like, I don't know if you guys have felt the same. Take stock of your life between January and now. Like, how are we feeling? Like, do you feel like you've had a lot of different versions of yourself? Do you feel like you started the year one way and now you're halfway through and you feel completely different? Do you feel the same, better, worse? Like, definitely let me know. Message me on Instagram and tell me. But I feel like I've lived so many different versions of myself, so many peaks and so many valleys. And I'm just kind of here wondering, like, what do I want the next 6 months to look like? But what do I want them to feel like? And I think just off the top, a little bit more consistency, I think, in like my emotion and my mood. Last night I was in a bit of a funk, which is a little bit more vulnerable than I normally get on the pod. So I tried something new. I do journal, but not consistently. And I'm sure we all know now about The Artist's Way, which is a book and about creativity, drumming up your own creativity. And anyways, she advises morning pages, which is 3 pages every morning, no matter what. It doesn't matter what you're talking about, just stream of consciousness. And I just decided to start writing some at night. It actually helps to just like release your thoughts. And although I haven't read The Artist's Way yet, I think that it is good practice. Just 3 pages unfiltered. And it really did help me to just release how I was feeling. I think moving my body. So I also got up and just stretched for like 2 minutes. My arms, my neck, my back, my knees, my ankles, my wrists, just everything while saying a few affirmations. It really helps to release. Now, just so you know, that release could include tears, so don't be surprised, but it can be very, very helpful and impactful. And I think that while I talk about self worth, self mastery, personal development, and all that stuff on this podcast every week with you guys, trust and believe that I am in the mud with you. Like, I love that quote from Oscar Wilde, like, all of us are in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars. Okay, maybe I didn't say it right, but I love that quote because I think it's so true. And yeah, I'm in it too. And that's what I've been sitting with, no pun intended, since I've returned from Greece. So here are a few soft reminders that I'm bringing into July, just kind of what I'm holding space for right now, thinking about not really an affirmation, but more of a mantra and just things that I'm really exploring and some truths that are keeping me going, keeping me focused, and that I can really like expand and explore for myself. Life is all about seasons, and this is just another one of that. I really like to remind myself that life is just cyclical and has different seasons because that is true. When I used to work in sales, one thing that we used to say all the time is don't get too high with the highs, don't get too low with the lows. Almost like it's all the same. Oh, there's a really good clip from Rick and Morty. I don't watch it, but I saw it make the rounds on social media. And it was like, I don't get impacted by your booze because I've seen what makes you cheer. And it's the same idea. Like, nothing is forever, even the good stuff. So it's okay. It'll pass. Like everything, it'll pass. My sensitivity is not a setback. My self awareness, my hyper awareness, it feels like sometimes is not a setback. It's truly a compass. I think that the more work you do on yourself, one awful little side effect that people don't tell you is that sometimes it becomes harder to relate and maybe in turn also harder to be relatable. I don't know. But that is something that I'm not new to. It's something I've known for a while, but it is something that I'm ever so often reminded of. And I just want to stay rooted in my own gifts and my own capabilities and my own sauce, like my sensitivity isn't a setback. It's truly a compass. It guides my life. I'm very in touch with the way I feel, the way I think. They work in tandem often, not always. And I'm grateful that I'm hyper aware to that because it truly guides my life and it's never steered me wrong. Finally, being palatable is a scam. Like, be fair, be kind, be respectful, maybe even be diplomatic at times. But if keeping the peace means you have to abandon yourself, it is not peace at all, and it's never worth the cost. And yeah, I think some of this comes from being a little tired, not just physically, but maybe the kind of tired that comes from carrying a lot of invisible weight while still trying to be brilliant and soft and funny and present and personable and all of the things, right? But I'm always going to show up because that's the kind of person I am. And also, that's the kind of person I want to be. And I want to continue to follow through on. Even when the world hasn't mirrored me back yet in the ways that I think is fair, I'll keep showing up. So I hope this resonates with you if you needed it. So the last thing that I would say I've been kind of like flirting with lately is the idea of a slow summer. And I actually had this idea for a pod, and I might get into it more next week because I know that summer is supposed to be wildly social, right? It's buzzing, summer of outside. And I agree with that actually 100%. I think if it fits for you, girl, get the fuck out there and do the thing. I saw a TikTok the other day and it was just like, if you see me enjoying myself a little bit too hard this summer, just let me because next year I might be married. Next year I might have a baby. And I was like, that's right. Like, that's right. Also, next year you could get into, God forbid, an accident and you break your ankle, sprain your ankle, and you're out for 3 months. You tear your ACL. Like, there are so many things that could happen that could change your outlook, even just temporarily, and boom, there's a summer gone. So absolutely, girl, do your thing at any age, at any time. Just get it done. You just never know. But it's also like next summer you could be saving for a house, so maybe you don't even have the means to do what you want to do. There's just so many things, guys. So I'm all about it. But I feel like I've been flirting with the idea of a slow summer. And maybe because I've had those summers where they've been boom, boom, boom. Summer of 2023 was very boom, boom, boom. And August of 2024 was very boom, boom, boom for me. So I think I'm kind of flirting with that idea. And maybe I will talk about it a little bit more next week. I don't think I'm going to like disappear or anything. But I don't know. Don't hold me to it. So don't hold me to it if I do disappear, but then also don't hold me to it if I just like end up raging for the next like 6 weeks. But I'm learning that presence doesn't always have to be like super loud and super in your face. I even like moved my Instagram app on my phone. I know this is like very like meta, but TikTok, Instagram, and like obviously the core apps or whatever are on like my homepage of my phone. And I was like, you know what? I find that I'm just reaching for it in a habitual way that isn't really what I want to do. So I just like moved it into a different folder, and just that move alone, like not uninstalling, not deleting, not logging out, none of that, like just that alone, I have only opened Instagram once today. And I was like, no, this is good. And the only reason why I opened it was to like add someone back that I know added me. That was it. And I was like, no, this is good. I'm going to keep doing this. I've also been flirting with putting my phone on sleep mode, like just having it on sleep mode like all day and only checking notifications like once I go into the app. Again, like when I say I'm in it with you guys, it's like when people say, oh, I don't have time to read. It's just like, well, how much time do you spend on your phone? Like that's good reading time. How much time do you spend watching TV? That's also good reading time. And it's like, I have to be reminded of that myself. So if I'm on my phone scrolling, that's just quality time that I could be using for something way more impactful for me, which is likely reading or cooking or whatever the case may be. So less time on my phone. But like I said, presence doesn't always have to be loud. Sometimes it's really just staying with yourself, connecting with nature, and just not abandoning yourself for the sake of just like being seen, you know? I think there's just moments and seasons, like I said earlier, for everything. And that's just kind of what I'm feeling right now. So, in closing, I do have like a little bit of a word on like love and friendship. And something that I've really been feeling lately is how much I value friendship. I really do deeply. And this has been an overarching theme throughout my life. But the way I look at that value and the way I look at friendships and the way I kind of evaluate things has really become hyper focused, I would say, in the last year, 18 months. And I genuinely cannot wait to meet all the people in my life who are still on their way to me. I find so much comfort and joy in the possibility of my future and all the paths still untaken and all the things still unfolding. I think that is something that keeps me truly young at heart. I really believe the best is yet to come. I believe that for myself, and I hope you believe it for yourself as well. Don't ever think your best days are behind you. Accept that the best is yet to come. The people that will be in my life who will like me, who will love me, who will see me as I am, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because we all have it, because I'm not perfect. But what I've realized is I'm so far from unlovable. Not that I ever thought I was. I don't, and I never have. But just saying that out loud, I think is so powerful to remind myself that even in my lower moments, I am that bitch through and through. And I mean that in a million different ways. So, take what resonates and leave the rest. And I'm just truly not interested in any connection, romantic, platonic, professional, that ever makes me question that. Just know, like, I stand 10 toes down in myself. One thing I know I have in this life is me. I have always had my own back, and I will always have my own back. And I never fold, I just evolve. And I've realized that over the last 18 months. And if you haven't realized that for yourself, or you're in the process of realizing it, then I'm extending that message to you, and I hope it lands. So, one of the affirmations that has been really doing bits for me and keeping me tethered is there's nothing wrong with me for wanting more. My sensitivity, and insert any trait that you're thinking of, my sensitivity, my strength, my wit, whatever, is not a setback. It's my compass. I will keep showing up in small ways, even if the world hasn't mirrored me back yet. I think that's also a powerful line, even from like a professional point of view. Maybe you are in like a job slump and you've been looking really hard for something new. Like, you will keep showing up, even if the world hasn't mirrored you back yet. I am not behind. I am becoming. You guys know we're always in constant bloom, constant evolution. I believe that. And love in all its forms will find me in the places I haven't even looked yet. So, anyways, guys, that is the end of this episode. I hope it resonated with you. I know that this was a different one than my usual Chatty Cathy's, but I hope you liked it. And if you did, share it with someone you love who you think might enjoy it as well. You guys know where to find me as per usual at Shantel Russo on all platforms, at the Sage Sorority on all platforms. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a cheeky review. And until next week, guys, have a beautiful week. Take care of yourselves and each other. I love you, and I will see you next week. Bye.